You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. More witnesses took the stand today in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, including first of all, of course, he's the one charged with murdering George Floyd, folks. Riveting their testimony, including a 9-year-old who testified and 2 high school seniors. Here's what took place.
At some point, did you make a 911 call?
That is correct. I did call the police on the police.
Right. And why did you do that?
Because I believe I witnessed a murder.
All right. So if we can at this point, then play Exhibit 20.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Officer 987 killed a citizen in front of a Chicago store. He just pretty much just killed this guy that wasn't resisting arrest. He had his knee on the dude's neck the whole time, Officer 987. The man went stopped breathing. He wasn't resisting arrest or nothing. He was already in handcuffs. They pretty much just killed that dude. I don't even know if he's dead for sure, but he was not responsible when the ambulance just came and got him. And the officer that was just out here left, the one that actually just murdered the kid in front of everybody on 38th in Chicago.
Okay. Would you like to speak with the sergeant?
Yeah, like that was bogus what they just did to this man. He was unresponsive. He wasn't resisting arrest or any of it.
Okay, let me get you over to the desk. You can request to speak with the sergeant, okay?
Yeah, and I'm sitting here talking with another off-duty firefighter that just sat here and watched it in front of us as well.
Okay.
And she told him to check the man's pulse, but they wouldn't even check the pulse.
Okay, 1 second. I have reached the city of Minneapolis to reach someone in our property crimes division.
Y'all murderers, bro. Y'all murderers, Kyle. You gonna kill yourself. I already know it. 2 more years. You gonna shoot yourself. Murderers, bro. Y'all niggas is murderers, bro. Minneapolis Third Precinct.
Hey, it's dispatch.
Yeah, man. So I want to speak to the supervisor. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he wants to speak with the supervisor relating to 320's called cup food.
When I look at George Floyd, I look at my dad. I look at my brothers. I look at my cousins, my uncles, because they are all black. I have a black father. I have a black brother. I have black friends. And I look at that and I look at how that could have been one of them. It's been nights. I stayed up apologizing and apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more and not physically interacting and not saving his life. But it's like, it's not what I should have done. It's what he should have done.
When you walked past the squad car there, did you see anything happening there on the ground as you were walking towards Cup Foods with your cousin?
Yes, I see a man on the ground and I see a cop kneeling down on him.
Was there anything about the scene that you didn't want your cousin to see?
Yes.
And what was that?
A man terrified, scared, begging for his life.
Is that why you directed your cousin to going into Cup Foods?
Yes.
And then when you saw what was happening there at the scene, what was it about the scene that caused you to come back?
It wasn't right. He was suffering. He was in pain.
Let me stop you there for just a second, Darnell. And so when you say, first of all, he, are you referring to the person you come to know as George Floyd?
Yes.
Did you know anything about Mr. George Floyd before May 25th?
No.
Had you ever met him before?
No.
Ever seen him before, to your knowledge?
No.
So when you came back to this scene here that we can see in Exhibit 16, what did you do when you first got there? And we see where you're standing. What did you do?
I pulled out my phone.
And what were you doing and pulling out your phone?
Recording and capturing what I was seeing.
So tell the jury what you observed, what you heard when you stopped to look at what was happening there at the scene.
I heard George Floyd saying, "I can't breathe, please get off of me. I can't breathe." He cried for his mom. He was in pain. It seemed like he knew. It seemed like he knew it was over for him. He was terrified. He was suffering. This was a cry for help.
Joining us right now is attorney Yodit Tewolde. Of course, she also is with America's Most Wanted. This was a unbelievable day of testimony, Yodit, all across the board. To hear these three minors testify, having to also relive that video, describing what took place. But the mixed martial arts fighter, he was asked point blank, "Why'd you call the cops?" And he said, "Because I felt I witnessed a murder."
Yeah. You know, the prosecution's starting really strong. They had a strong day yesterday. They're continuing to have a strong case by putting up these bystanders who in real time can show these jurors what they experience and what they continue to experience because of that traumatic day. But I will say with the martial mix expert or fact witness, that is Mr. Williams, he didn't have a great cross-examination. You could see that he was really getting frustrated, combative, defensive. Makes me actually question whether the prosecutors actually warned these witnesses that that is something to expect. But what that tape did, that 911 call being played for the jury, he may not have been as effective today in his testimony, but that 911 call said everything he needed to say to those jurors that he couldn't say on that stand. So still very powerful.
This is, I mean, obviously it is very hard for folks to relive this, and also them playing the video of different angles for us to actually see that Derek Chauvin was not the only officer putting his weight on the body of George Floyd. Yeah.
Seeing these different angles and hearing people's, again, real-time narration really puts things into perspective for some of these jurors who actually said that they never actually seen the video in full. Some have never seen it at all. Some only saw parts of it. So this is definitely eye-opening for them. But if you remember the 911 dispatcher, she was able to walk the jurors through this video that no one had seen in the public. It was perched up. It was a police camera that was across the street from Cup Foods. And for her to say, "I thought that the video had frozen," that's how long they were on George Floyd, that she had to do something that was completely out of the norm for a 911 dispatcher. And that was to call a supervisor and say something is going on. So for her, someone who's never had police training, any type of use of force training, to know that common sense and reason tells her something is off about this video, that's what the jurors can do.
This is, of course, when you talk about, again, the way the prosecutors are approaching this, very methodical. And look, if you're a prosecutor, you want to lead with your strongest people. You don't want to sort of just, meander into this. Look, they've had a strong 2 days, and you talk about putting the defense on the defense. That certainly has been the case.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is always going to have an uphill battle, but certainly in this case, because of that video. So the prosecutors, like you said, start strong. And that's what was a little confusing when they started with the 911 dispatcher. You thought that they might have started with a family member or maybe one of those younger minor bystanders. But I see why they did it now. She had something powerful to say, and it's the start of a chain of events from that day. But they want to play that tape as much as possible, and they're getting to do that through the bystanders who were recording from different angles. So as many times as they could start that video and stop it frame by frame and have a witness testify to what they're watching, they are ingraining in these jurors' minds what this was like on that day for not only George Floyd, but for these bystanders too. So I were the prosecutor, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Prosecutor, I was going to say that is the goal. Keep playing that video from every single angle as much as possible. The defense has nothing to contradict that video. They can try and poke holes. That's what they're doing. That's their job, to muddy the waters. But there is no combating that video in real time to watch what it is that's happening to George Floyd. That, again, the defense said in their opening statements for the jurors to use their common sense and reasoning. When you look at that video, you don't need training to know that common sense and reasoning says that what was happening to George Floyd was absolutely unreasonable and excessive.
But on that particular point, here's the other piece, because I go back to the Rodney King trial. The defense attacked the video because it was only one angle. Well, if you look at the video in terms of the positioning, not really on his neck. No. In this case, you've got multiple videos, multiple angles, and so you're the defense. You got to figure out, if you're going to try to discredit the video, you not got to discredit all of them from different angles as opposed to what we've seen in previous trials.
But even if they try to discredit the angles, you have the actual witnesses testifying to what it is in the video. So what the prosecutors are doing, and they should be doing this, is putting on all these witnesses to also supplement what it is that they're watching. So you can't discount them, especially those younger kids. The ones that were minors at the time, the 17, the 18-year-olds, it's really hard for the defense to go on the attack and cross-examine them, right? These are people who are still suffering, who still think about that day. One of them said they can't even walk down that street anymore. It would look very bad on the part of the defense to try and attack them. It's their job, but not a good look in front of the jury.
All right, then. Yodit Tewolde, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll keep, of course, we're streaming this trial every single day. Folks can watch it on our YouTube channel, Facebook and Twitter accounts as well to keep up with what's going on. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.